Will you drink to the earth and to the days which have passed upon it? Will you drink to the fullness which was and to friends who have passed on? Will you drink to good company well met?
Parent and community, including teachers, potential faith leaders, and neighbors, will decide if the child is ready to consent, the community and the child, if the child so desires to have intercourse with an adult. And do I feel that some minors are more equipped to engage in sexual activity with adults than others? Yeah.
To use terminology for groups that members of that group want others to use for them, because it's less stigmatizing than other terms like pedophile.
My name is Miranda. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a licensed professional counselor and sex therapist in Erie, Pennsylvania. And I want to talk about minor attracted persons because they are probably the most vilified population of folks in our culture.
Good. As they should be.
And most folks are making incorrect assumptions about them without actually knowing much about them. And those assumptions create harm for an already marginalized population, is only part of who they are and doesn't represent everything that they are. We are all people first with many different facets or parts of ourselves. And this includes folks who are attracted to minor. They've not chosen this attraction, just as the rest of us have not chosen whatever our attraction is. You don't get to choose to be heterosexual or to be gay or whatever you are.
I seriously hope she doesn't have children because I feel like she'd be the type of person to leave them with a map because, you know, she's so PC and we have to be tolerant of them, and just trust the pedophiles that they won't do anything because they say so, right? So we should just trust them.
You're not allowed to label people like that.
What?
Stop it, Diego.
Yeah, no,
We're not going to call them that. We're going to call them MAPs, minor attracted persons.
No.
So don't judge people just because they want to have sex with a 5-year-old.
The brain is wired that way. It also implies, doesn't it, that the wiring cannot be changed. There is no cure.
That's what it seems to suggest now. No medication, no therapy, no surgery, that nobody's produced...
Well, aside from castration.
Well, that's not exactly a cure. That wouldn't turn a pedophile, castration wouldn't turn a pedophile into a non-pedophile. Castration, of course, removes a person's sex drive. Now, that can be very beneficial. A lot of people who are attracted to something that they cannot enact would rather live a life without a sex drive.
Well, how do you think Gays for Gaza will get on long term?
Well, the joke at the moment is that there aren't enough tall buildings in Gaza to throw Gays for Gaza off. But these people are, you know, I've said very often, they're part of the same phenomenon as turkeys for Christmas and chickens for KFC. I mean, I'm fed up with these fringe idiot cases. I mean, they're so mentally defective, these people, and incredibly narcissistic, you know. I can be queer and also celebrate Palestine. No, you fucking can't. Fuck off. Just, you know, I can both argue for a two-state solution and also celebrate queerness and also not let myself down. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't do all those things. At some point, you've got to choose. I've got a video to show you. Let me show you this video.
Can someone please explain to me what this means? What does reproductive justice mean? Free Palestine. What does that even mean? Like, what does it mean? I'm not pretty sure. Abortions are illegal in Palestine unless it's like, you know, a super medical emergency and the mother will die. From what I understand, actually a lot of Palestinians have to go to Israel to get the abortions they want. So what does this mean?
Yeah.
What? It's such a huge sign. There's 5 people holding this thing. It's massive.
That's very good.
That's Danny, the other half of Ryan, who wasn't there the day that you came.
Yeah, the boys cast. Yeah,
reproductive justice means free Palestine. What do you think?
This is just incredibly ignorant young people in America who have been taught this weird version of the world where all oppressions interlink and interlock, and you're either the majority or the minority for minority rights and issues, or for majority rights and issues, and all minority rights and issues intersect and overlap, so that if you're queer, somehow well, no, it's not even that. These ignoramuses who couldn't point to the River Jordan if you showed it to them on a map, walk along the streets of America shouting, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Because they think the Palestinians are the underdogs in this weird version where they've mapped they've mapped a very specific version of American racial politics onto everything else in the world. It's the same thing people who talk about colonizers. I mean, there's this language of colonizers, apartheid, all this stuff. And they've just tried to map it everywhere. Well, I say everywhere. Actually, it's highly selectively. I mean, the people who are talking about Israelis being colonizers, when I saw that the other day on the streets of London, I thought, yes, if only there was a name for large numbers of people who came from outside to a country. And if only we could identify what they might be called in Britain. Oh, it would be immigrants, wouldn't it? Do you want to call immigrants colonizers in Britain? You sure you want to follow this logical conclusion? The talk about indigenous peoples. Oh, okay, great. Anyway, you don't want to apply that. Might there be a country or a continent, say, Europe, where you don't want to start talking about the indigenous peoples? I notice that people don't. But if you do want to, welcome to hell. So, no, all that is happening is a very selective mapping of a particular interpretation of the world that very dumb people in America have tried to put on certain selective other cases. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But may they never find out how much it doesn't work. May they never find out. I wish them bliss in their ignorance, because if their ignorance ever gets popped, it will be as brutal a day as can be imagined.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has demanded that Hamas return its hostages immediately. And while some people have called this an empty gesture, Trudeau has made one of the most brilliant geopolitical moves in history by letting Hamas know if those hostages are not returned by Monday, he is fully prepared to add Hamas to the 2S LGBTQIA+ acronym.
And you gotta hand it to Justin for saying, and I quote, "If you don't think I have the stones to add letters to the acronym, well then you don't know me very well. Please give me a reason. There's two things that give me joy: adding letters to that acronym and dressing up as different races. And I'm fresh out of face paint."
Trudeau has said that he can have the Hamas logo on every gay pride flag in the country by sundown if he chooses to. And he has told the leader of Hamas that he better pray 6 times a day that he's not in the mood this afternoon, because he's feeling a little peckish to pop another letter on there as we speak.